Bienvenue, UQA. Did I do it right? Okay. Welcome into Raptors today. Akil Augustine, the principal, Paul Jones, still teaching here at the university, and it's time for Raptors training camp, day 3. We caught up with one of the leaders of the new school, IQ, the point guard, and we'll throw you to him and react out of it. Camp with Darko, different from last year. Of course, you came in. There were expectations of you at the point guard. I asked him if he expected your game to look any different this year now that the expectation is you're more of a facilitator and more of a leader. How do you see your role playing out this year with this group?
You say different? What you mean by different?
Well, I mean, you got to be a leader, main point guard. I guess.
I'm not a leader?
Well, I imagine it changes when you become a starter on a new team, no?
I mean, I got a chance to be here for about a half a year, so I'm kind of a little bit more comfortable now. But I don't think too much changes as far as just more about just getting better and enhancing what you already have. You don't really change who you are. I mean, we've been playing basketball since I've been playing since I was 4 years old. So nothing really changes for me. Just continue to try to find ways to get better and find ways to lock in more on details, and that's how you get better, really.
In the short camp in the summer, what are you seeing from Gradey?
He shoot. Bigger? Yeah, he is bigger. He said he gained weight, but you know, rookies be lying. But Gradey, you can see he's definitely gotten a lot better. He's understanding the game a little bit more. Defensively, you can see he's understanding a little bit more, and that comes with experience. The more you play in the NBA, you just kind of get a feel, because it's a lot different from college. College and the NBA game is just two totally different games. It's not even it feels like a different sport sometimes. So,
a couple shooting battles with Gradey Dick recently, after practice. Is he shooting the ball better? What's going on with our
I didn't get a chance to see the battle. What's been going on?
I lost to Gradey today.
It's not a bad guy to lose to. Gradey Dick. Gradey. Come on, young fella.
You gained some weight?
Bro, they said, how many pounds you gained?
10.
It was 20 yesterday, so you feel me? Numbers going up and down.
Somebody asked him about his raise.
Raise? You got a raise?
About your raise.
Oh, no. Don't
Talk
ask
to us about the raise.
I just work hard. I come in and try to have a great spirit and attitude every day that I can. That's pretty much it. I owe RJ some dinner probably, so a little bit more dinner.
How's the thumb feel?
Pretty good. Did a little bit more. I've been doing more every day, honestly, but just everything but non-contact. But I'm good.
Okay, so do not make the mistake of questioning IQ's leadership because, he didn't receive it nicely. But he did make some great points about the fact that a lot of guys view themselves as leaders, whether or not we look at them as leaders from the sixth-man spot or wherever. But now he's the point guard leader for the Toronto Raptors.
It's this nebulous quality that nobody can define, leadership. And sometimes it's off the court. It's making sure the team's cohesive, going out to dinners, bringing everybody in. But sometimes leadership on the court is just getting buckets and doing stuff that shows your team, hey, we're in a fight here, and I'm going to show you what we need to do to win. And IQ's always been that kind of guy. You think of his role in New York when he came off the bench, and he was a scorer. He was a leader in that regard. But in Toronto, you're looking at him as more of an all-round leader in terms of distributing, being the first point of defense on the point guard for the other team. So there are other things that are incorporated into that. And I think IQ bristles because people sometimes overlook that. And you can't. And it's obvious he's in that position here in Toronto. And we're going to see how he takes to it. And it's easy to do it when you're up 10 or 15. You know how it is, right? You score a bucket. Everybody's the first guy back on defense directing traffic. What happens when you're down 8 or 10 and you need that big shot to keep you in the game? That's the kind of leadership you're going to be looking for from him.
You mentioned leaders paying for dinner. RJ crashed the party and mentioned he expects some dinners from IQ with that new contract. Someone else that crashed the party for that scrum was Gradey Dick, and we had a chance to speak with Gradey after. Rumor has it, first it was 15 pounds, Darko said. Then IQ said 20. And then you said 10. Exactly how much weight have you gained this offseason?
Well,
I don't know. Basically, it would be around like 13 if we're being specific, because it was right after the season when I came back from being at home, came back, and then we started going straight full, practice mode again, and then, I don't know, someone says like 8 somewhere. I don't know why it's such a debate, but it's around 10. I'm bigger. That's all I need to know.
Make it easier to play at that size? Like take the hits to absorb the contact because you're bigger?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge change, to be honest, but because I still have so much room to grow. But at the same time, it's more like the core strength and like the exercises and movements we do in the weight room that really help me hold my ground. Yeah, it's obviously going to help if I'm bulking up and getting buff, but at the same time, if I can hold my ground with my core strength, that's just as well.
I can confirm the final number is 8 pounds gained since the end of the season for Gradey. Shout out to JQ, Jennifer Quinn.
Well, it's always the summer thing, right? Oh, he's gained 20 pounds and his jump shot looks great. Insert any player into that equation. So the fact that it was 8, but you could see Gradey looks noticeably, overtly bigger and stronger.
A year older.
And
his age.
I said that last year. Here's a guy who was at the prom a couple years ago, right? And now he's playing with grown men for groceries. And this is a different kind of league. There are no prisoners taken. It's a business. It's bottom line. So Grady's learned that very quickly, and I think he's adjusted this summer, and the Raptors are really hoping he'll take that jump.
Yeah, he's got his eye on that 5th starting spot, and we'll see how that plays out here throughout training camp. It's time to check in with the head coach of your Toronto Raptors, Darko.
Obviously, the first couple of days, you're sort of thinking about different lineup variations and how it might look on the court. That core 4 of Scotty, IQ, RJ, and Jakob have done really well, especially last season. When it comes to adding that 5th player in, a guy like Davion, the defense that you've mentioned over the last couple of weeks, does make sense. Do you think he will see minutes with the starters? Even if he's not a starter himself, will he be in those lineups frequently?
And everything is on the table. I always keep saying and going back to that. Definitely his intensity on defensive end, I think he can help us for sure. Also, I want to be aware that those 4 guys that you mentioned, I want to see the ball in hands of Scotty more. I want to see the ball in Quickley learning how to run the team. So all of that plays factor in decision making, who's going to be on floor. He definitely is going to help defensively, and we're going to see him in those lineups with those guys. But also he needs to carry second unit and help with the second unit big time.
You mentioned Quick. Now that he's had time in a training camp with you, will we see a different style of play from him, or is it just getting the style that he's already played to sync up more with your guys?
I think what we're going to see with him is constant growth because this is going to be first time for him to carry the team as a starter, as a starting point guard on a team. And, we talked a lot about him being very aggressive, being able to score, but also having the balance of finding his teammates, making the right decisions, and that's learning process for him. And also a lot of conversations that we're having with him is becoming a two-way player, to step up on defensive end as well and to own it, because you know how it is when you pick up the ball and guarding opposite team point guard, that kind of sets a lot of tone for other 4 guys there as well. And there's going to be there for him, there's going to be a challenge and something that we want to work on and improve on.
All right, you heard from Darko. Expect to see a lot of different lineups, a lot of experimentation, and knowing that there's some question marks at the end of that bench. How does that play out for this group, knowing that they still have to determine that 5th starter? Well,
The 5th starter, and then the pecking order after that down the bench. And that's what you get with a young team and a developing team. Darko's he's very adept at his developmental process, and he'll try guys in different spots to stress them, push them outside of their comfort zone, force them to adjust, and that's how you get growth. I mean, they always say that growth starts at the end of your comfort zone. So Darko will put guys in that situation, and then he'll look at which lineups work, and you can bet he'll come back to those at key times. You experiment to a point, but when it gets down to winning and putting the best lineup on the floor, you will remember those combinations, go with them. So I don't think you're going to see anything that's standard at the beginning of the year. You're going to see a lot of changes. You're going to see guys playing in what you would think would be different spots, but it's part of the experimentation and the growth process.
All right, one of the guys that could benefit from this experimentation and growth process is Davion Mitchell, one of the newest Raptors coming in from Sacramento. We spoke with Es Baraheni from Raptors Republic and Forbes about the potential for Davion with this group. Now joined by Es Baraheni here now of Raptors Republic and Forbes. So congratulations on the big moves for you. But we're here in Montreal for Raptors training camp. Before I get into the piece that you're here to work on, I want to get a scene set for you, expectations for this year. Masai said the word rebuild and the media world went crazy.
Yeah, I think that's the expectations for everybody. Development is another word that, Coach Darko and Masai have mentioned a lot. And I think this year will be a lot about trying to get the guys better. Whether that means, winning a bunch of games and trying to be as competitive as possible, I think that's a balance. But ultimately, they're going to try to get guys as good as possible in their specific skill sets.
So be patient. Now, with that, of course, you're here working on a specific story about one of the new members of the team, Davion Mitchell, the former Sacramento King. Talk to me about what you're looking into with him.
Yeah, obviously his nickname is Off Night, right? And that's an incredible nickname. Like that's one of the best nicknames in the NBA. He got it for a reason. I think that's the defensive end, being a ball hawk, great defender on ball. And I think between what Coach Darko has said and what the rest of the team has said, defense is a very, very important part of this year. I think he could potentially shape how they do on that end. I'm not expecting them to become a top 10 defense or even a top. Maybe they'll end up becoming a top 15 defense, but I think a guy like Davion on ball can really change the complexion of their defense. So that's the story.
And where can we find your work when you start pumping it out?
Forbes, man. You can go and read it on Forbes or Raptors Republic. But yeah, that's where the Davion piece will be.
Okay, that's it for Es. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will continue to keep you up to date here on Raptors.com and NBA TV Canada, but we will see you on TSN come Sunday night.